Yeah! Welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 153 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from December 31st, 1994, taped December 5th, 1994, from the Princeton High School in Princeton, West Virginia. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Darby Allin's ripped mesh shirt to my Don Callis's ascot. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you doing today? Trae, if you take yourself off mute, you can tell me how the hell you're doing today.
Yeah, you're an ascot, all right. Is the comeback that I ruined by not having my fucking microphone unmuted.
How are things going today?
I'm here on dry land, relatively.
Yay! Yay! How's the weather down there? We're supposed to get a bit of a heat wave later this week up here.
I don't think I'd notice if we had a heat wave.
You might notice if there's like a cold wave at this point, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, it's as hot and humid as Satan's balls here.
It's getting hot in here, so hot, so take off all your clothes. So today, Thursday, it's supposed to be 92 here. Then tomorrow it's going to be 98. And then Saturday, 95 with thunderstorms. That's going to be a fun combination right there.
That could create some bad conditions.
Indeed.
Hey,
Indeed.
So you, as a native of Pennsylvania and a longtime resident of New England, do you have a term for when it rains while the sun is shining?
Pennsylvania did. Massachusetts doesn't. I would say it was a sunstorm.
Do you know what the southern term for that is?
No idea.
The devil's beating his wife.
The devil's beating his wife?
The devil's beating his wife. That's when it rains. When it rains and the sun is out, the devil's beating his wife. I don't know why.
Okay, then. I gotta say, I'd never heard that before.
I'm so glad that I got to enrich your life with that.
I can only imagine what information I've now permanently forgotten, because I now know that in the South that's called the devil's beating his wife. Alrighty. So we were talking about Smoky Mountain Wrestling for like the first time in what feels like a month.
Yeah.
So I think it's because we're just so sad because it's the last episode of 1994, meaning next week we're into the last year of this promotion's existence.
Yeah. One more year, less than a year.
Yep. After today, we're 47 episodes left after today.
11 months until John Layfield starts in the territory.
In 11 months, Mark Curtis is going to pin Jim Cornette, and that's going to be the death of the company.
You know what? I really hope that is the last match that we ever see. That'd be perfect.
It's not the last match we'll ever see, but it's the last match in Smoky Mountain history.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the intro here with JR and Les, and you might realize suddenly why I screamed, "Yeah!" when the music ended.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and Happy New Year to you. I'm Jim Ross, along with Les Thatcher. I want to thank you for being with us, and happy 1995, everybody. And in this broadcast, Les, we're going to show the fans some exciting highlights from the recent NWA tournament.
That's right, in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and of course, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was very well represented.
Well, as a matter of fact, Chris Candido won that tournament. We're going to see him in action here today. And a very interesting situation. Bruiser Bedlam wants to confront Jim Cornette right here in our confrontation segment.
It seems like Cornette right out of the frying pan into the fire, this thing with the rock and roll. And now he's got the big Bruiser a bit upset, I believe.
And I'm very excited about our Beat the Champ matchup this week. It'll be Primetime Brian Lee defending against Nature Boy Buddy Landell.
That is the main event any place in the country. We've got it right here on Smoky Mountain Television.
And Brian Anderson's going to be here. It's going to be a great hour, everybody. Let's take you up to the ring and get started.
Or maybe we won't hear that because I was just smart enough to have fast forwarded past that. So basically when the music ended, there was a kid on screen and he screamed, "Yeah!" into the camera. So at least someone was excited for this week's show.
I know how much you love the fans here in the Smoky Mountain area.
Oh, I say nothing but the nicest things about them. But today we're going to get highlights of the NWA tournament held recently in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And this might just be me nitpicking, and you know how much I hate nitpicking, you know. But they didn't actually say it's the NWA title tournament. They're just like, it's the NWA tournament held recently in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So even though you could probably guess it and they elaborate on it later, it's like, you know, there was a tournament that the NWA held and Chris Candido won it. Like, what is so important about this tournament?
So like the version of that that's always circulated, that's a handheld, right?
Yeah, it's a fan cam.
So I've heard like last year from like Joe Dombrowski or one of those websites that has almost like a lot of stuff that they put up, that they were going to put up a pro shot version of that NWA title tournament, but I'm not sure. I will go look about that as we get going here, see if I can find it.
By the way, Joe Dombrowski, one of the best guests we ever had on the old podcast.
Oh.
Him and Bruce Tharp, former NWA owner.
Yeah.
Johnny Fairplay made fun of me. So we don't talk about Johnny Fairplay. But Jim Cornette's on the confrontation segment this week, shockingly enough. And he's going to be confronted by Bruiser Bedlam, which is a few months in the making, I must tell you that. But let's get into the show here. Our opening match here. Steve Casey, I'm sorry, not Steve Casey, Jesus Christ, wrong show for that. Steve Skyfire versus the WWA World Heavyweight Champion, the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion, and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Suicide Blonde Chris Candido, with Tammy Fitch, who is the young lady who filed a sexual discrimination lawsuit against Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Candido won a 3-minute match that went longer than my introduction of the match. And he won it with the suicide flex. The match felt at times like it went 10 minutes, but really only went about 3 minutes.
It did, in fact, go 3 minutes. Yes, and that was. I don't have anything to add. It was 3 minutes and a superplex.
Yep. I guess this we mentioned it was taped December 5th, and the NWA tournament was November 19th. Candido didn't have the belts. They did announce him as the NWA champion, but he didn't have the belt. I
noticed that.
Well, speaking of the tournament, JR, we're going to go to JR, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the tournament and some of the participants that were invited to participate in this prestigious tournament.
Welcome back, everybody. In just a few moments, we're going to be talking to the Dirty White Boy about several situations. He was involved in the NWA tournament, quite a controversial situation he had with Jerry the King Lawler. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the oldest recognized title in professional wrestling is the National Wrestling Alliance Championship. It dates back to 1905. The NWA title has been dormant for the past few years due to politics and promotional wars. But recently, in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the NWA convened and held a tournament to crown a new champion. Wrestlers from every reputable promotion were invited to compete, and Smoky Mountain was well represented as Tracy Smothers, the Dirty White Boy, and Chris Candido joined a field including Japan's Nishimura, Florida champion Lightning Lou Perez, Midwest wrestling star Al Snow, Eastern States champ Dangerous Devon Storm, World Wrestling Alliance's Johnny Gunn, the USWA's Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and WWF star Jerry the King Lawler. Smoky Mountain Wrestling's representatives all made the Final Four, with Candido beating Smothers in a controversial decision in the finals. But the real controversy was the first round match, in which the Dirty White Boy eliminated Jerry the King Lawler. Let's go to the videotape.
I love that Nishimura got 2 bites at the apple and still couldn't get the belt. He couldn't bring it home.
Oh, because was he in the both of them?
He was the only one. Mostly, I guess, because ECW took all of the non-ECW people from theirs.
I'm trying to remember. There was somebody that I was watching recently, like a modern wrestler, that I was thinking that they should really watch some Osamu Nishimura, and I can't think of who it was now.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a whole lot of Nishimura.
Was a very he was a Tatsumi Fujinami disciple, but instead of like where Hiroshi Tanahashi got all the explosiveness and stuff from Fujinami, Nishimura got all the like technical wrestling stuff.
Okay. I mean, that ain't bad, though, because he was a tremendous technical wrestler. So there's that at least.
Yeah, he passed away of cancer like a year or 2 ago.
Well, rest in peace, Osamu Nishimura. You couldn't get out of the first round of an NWA title tournament, but you're still pretty damn good. He apparently went to a 15-minute time limit draw with Lou Perez. Because this was one of those stupid 10-man tournaments. Because that's a thing that
for $10,000 on the medal.
It doesn't mention whether or not there was a cash prize. I don't believe there was a medal on the line. Maybe that's why Candido didn't have the belt, because there was no belt. It was a medal.
By the way, if you go to, what was it, joe-dombrowski.com, you have to go to the drop down and look for independent events, and then it's under the Coraluzzo collection, and in there you can find the other 1994 NWA World Heavyweight Title Tournament. You can rent it for $2.99 or buy it for $4.99. So I may actually buy this here.
There was a man on this show. He wrestled Inferno Kid by the name of Mr. Motion.
Mr. Motion.
Yes. But the show did feature a future NWA champion. And I'm not talking about Chris Candido, of course. But do you want to guess who wrestled on the show that was a future NWA world champion other than Candido?
Oh, I think I was actually just looking at this. Was Scotty Flamingo? It
was Scotty Flamingo.
Yeah.
Who took on Doink in an undercard match. But this was not any of the other Doinks or Ray Apollo, who, had a conniption on YouTube a few months ago. This was Ace Darling.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, after that video, you heard them talk about a controversial situation regarding the Dirty White Boy and Jerry the King Lawler, of all people. Jim Cornette was at ringside for some reason, and here I thought he was a good guy now. Well, I guess he's never said he was a good guy. He was just helping the Rock and Roll Express in their quest for the Smoky Mountain tag belts. But anyway, Lawler bumped Mark Curtis, who was the referee, and held White Boy for Cornette, but White Boy ducked and Cornette thwacked Lawler. Curtis got up and DQ'd Lawler, and after the match, Lawler took out White Boy's leg.
Oh, well, that was quite a commotion of events, wasn't it?
It was. Now, from here, we're going to get that Dirty White Boy promo that JR promised, and it's going to lead into a Jerry Lawler promo, which is going to go back to more Dirty White Boy, which to me, and we'll get to it when we come back, I think after we go back to White Boy is where this angle goes a little bit off the cliff. But let's go to JR, the Dirty White Boy.
And there you saw the footage of what happened in the NWA tournament. Being the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion, your plate is pretty full anyway, but this was another situation that you almost came away with the brass ring.
That's right, but you notice Jim Cornette had to come down to ringside. Apparently he was a little upset over what happened a few weeks ago with Bruiser Bedlam and myself, the outcome of those matches. But the man that was really upset was Jerry the King Lawler, because, you know, he was picked as one of the favorites in this tournament, and I knocked him out the first round.
You certainly did. As a matter of fact, he hasn't forgotten that, as a matter of fact, Dirty White Boy, and we have these comments I'd like to hear for you to hear right now from Jerry the King Lawler.
I want to take just a minute to talk to you peasants in Knoxville, Tennessee. No, I guess the word peasants is probably a compliment to you. You're even below peasants. You're below peons. The truth of the matter is, what you are simple hicks. That's right. You're hicks and hillbillies up in Knoxville. You see, I am King Jerry Lawler from Memphis, Tennessee. You know where Memphis is? I'm sure you've heard of it. That's the only part of the state of Tennessee that has any literate people in it. And we laugh all the time about you hicks and hillbillies up in East Tennessee. We laugh until we realize what a bad name you give the state of Tennessee. We don't even claim you bunch of jerks. You understand that? Don't even ever think of trying to move up in the world and come to Memphis, Tennessee, because you'll be so out of place, it'll be pathetic. You are right at home in Knoxville. The only city in Tennessee where you can't buy a house unless you have the exact change. And you know what, Dirty White Boy? You're right at home in Knoxville, too. That's your kind of people up there, isn't it, huh? You like to rub elbows with that trash. Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. One time and one time only, I, the king of the World Wrestling Federation, am going to venture into Knoxville. That's right. I'm going to fly into Knoxville, Tennessee, and I know I'll know when I'm there, because as soon as I step off that plane, I'm sure the stench will knock me to my knees, and that's a lot more than you'll ever be able to do, Dirty White Boy. Do you understand that? But some kind of way, I'm going to be able to find my way to that arena for Super Saturday Night Fever, because I've got a mission to accomplish. I'm like the king on a crusade. I'm coming to Knoxville to take care of a little unfinished business, and you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Dirty White Boy? Huh? You piece of Knoxville trash, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You cost me the NWA title, didn't you, in that tournament? I haven't forgotten it. Kings don't forget stuff like that. I go around reminding elephants of things they forgot. You understand that? And it's taken till now to be able to get there and give you what you deserve. I'm coming to Knoxville to take something from you, Dirty White Boy. Oh, I thought about it. What would he have that I would want? Certainly not the dirty white girl. Oh, boy, she'd be easy to take, but I don't want her. She's had more hands on her than a doorknob. But let me tell you something. You do have something that I want. It's the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Championship. And believe me, I'm coming to take it. Mark my words, because kings don't lie. Super Saturday Night Fever. I'll be there, Dirty White Boy, and I'll be the champion.
Well, Jerry the King Lawler is never a loss for words. He's coming for you. He's coming on January the 28th on Super Saturday Night Fever.
Well, you know, Jerry the King Lawler, on the 28th of January, you're going to walk into the Knoxville Coliseum, and you're coming for one thing, the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight title. Now, I don't run around with my face painted green and a bunch of stooges carrying my bag, and I don't have a bunch of midgets running around. This is Smoky Mountain Wrestling, tough guy. If you're coming after this belt, you're going to have to come and be prepared to fight. Now, I haven't forgot anything about Buddy Landell. But Landell, if you want a shot at this on that same night, you have to beat the wild-eyed Southern boy, Tracy Smothers, to get a shot at this. Whoever wins that match between you two gets a shot at this right here. And, you know, I wish Tracy all the best in the world, but hopefully, Buddy Landell, I can get my hands on you and stomp your stinking guts out. But Jerry the King Lawler, you're the man.
What is this? What is this? What is this? This match was supposed to be for Buddy Landell. What are you doing here?
This is Buddy Landell's match.
No.
And you're giving it to Jerry Lawler?
No, see, that's where you're totally wrong. Buddy Landell has to prove himself. He has to. Yes, that's exactly what I said. He's got to prove himself. He's got to climb the ladder to get a shot at this. And he just don't deserve it right now.
We'll see about this.
Yeah,
we'll see about this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear it. We'll talk more about this situation. We got to go to a break, and we'll be right back. Don't you go away.
Now, Trae, I'm assuming you dislike this for a different reason than I did. You probably disliked it because the King ripped on the love of your life, Kimberly.
There's problems. Not with the promo so much, other than, okay, Robert Q. Harmon there at the end, you heard, it comes out to complain about Buddy not getting this title match at Super Saturday, Sunday Night Fever, whatever the fuck. Wasn't Buddy supposed to have a title match at Christmas Chaos? Wasn't the whole point of that storyline that somebody with the California agent wanted a title match and the Dirty White Boy was more than happy to sign the contract sight unseen? What the fuck happened?
Well, now that in theory White Boy has beaten Buddy, and they do tell us at some point, I didn't notate this, but they told us at some point that due to production time, they had to edit this show before Christmas Chaos, but they'll tell us all about what happened next week. So theoretically, Buddy could be the Smoky Mountain champion at this point.
Okay.
Because the show was finished before the show, right now, White Boy's a champion. So in theory, Buddy Landell never earned his title shot. He got a one-time only thing because, White Boy was in a generous mood over the holiday season, I guess.
So then why did Robert Q. Harmon think that this was Buddy's title shot when he already had the Christmas Chaos title shot that, of course, he was going to win? So why was Robert Q. Harmon out there? Buddy Landell's going to win the title of Christmas Chaos. What is it? Why does he have any interest in whatever the fuck at all?
Because Robert Q. Harmon is an idiot. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think he makes it to the next taping. Which the new shows will start in 2 weeks from that. I could be wrong, but if he does make it to the next taping, he's not on the one after that.
Maybe Buddy fired him for making him look bad here.
Yeah. Now, my issue, and maybe I just got confused, but the way they said it, and I guess like also the way the angle continued later on in the show, is the winner of Buddy and Tracy also getting a title shot on the same night?
No, I don't think so. I think they're having a number one contender match. Nothing was said, and now that you mention it, I can understand why you'd be confused. That was just like I assumed that it was that was the deal.
I mean, I'll say this, Buddy versus Tracy, that's a hell of a match. I gotta say, I hope they air at least a decent part of it on the show. But I guess we'll see when we get to that. Now, I do have to laugh, and I guess I shouldn't laugh that much because, I mean, I'm in Massachusetts, and sure, we are very regionally proud. We like our region over the next region. But it's like in my mind, I'm like, it's Tennessee, and we're having an argument over which side of Tennessee is better. Memphis or Knoxville. And Lawler says he's going to lower himself to go to Knoxville and face White Boy at Super Saturday Night Fever, which is apparently a real name of the next big show on this show. White Boy, I don't know why it took me more than one thing to figure out who he was talking about. White Boy says he doesn't paint his face green, and then he says he doesn't have midgets. I'm like, oh, he's talking about Doink. Like, I don't know why, because Doink's face wasn't really green, but really, I should have figured it out just when he said he doesn't paint his face. Robert Q. Harmon, in addition to being a very flat promo, he's not happy about this, and he's also not very good at his job.
He sure isn't. That's all I'm trying to say. No wonder he didn't last.
And it's like, it's kind of like when like Bobby Heenan would be paired with somebody who could cut a great promo like Nick Bockwinkel. You're like, why does Nick Bockwinkel need a manager to talk for him? And that's what I'm getting here. And I know I just compared Robert Q. Harmon to Bobby the Brain Heenan, which is not a good comparison, but you know what I mean. Like, Buddy Landell does not need a manager to speak for him, but he's got one.
Especially not this fucking doofus.
Yep. Now, we get a replay because last week on this show, Jim Cornette, can you believe this? He was in the corner of the Rock and Roll Express for the match with the Infernos. And if you couldn't believe it, they replayed like 5 minutes of it.
I saw it. We watched the show. It's been longer than a week for us, but I still remembered that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny also the way they pitched to it, because like we were talking about Christmas Chaos in the past tense, even though it's in the future on this show. But it's like the whole draw of Christmas Chaos was Cornette's going to manage the Rock and Roll Express. They did it last week, and it's like, can you believe it actually happened? Like, well, we got money out of Marks for saying it was actually going to happen, so I hope it happened.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
So earlier in the show, JR said that we were going to have two masked guys wrestling each other. And they didn't say anything more than that. So then we go to the ring where Fire the Inferno, who is a masked wrestler, takes on Uptown D'Lo Brown, who, if you don't remember, does not wear a mask. And apparently, Fire was supposed to wrestle somebody in a mask, but D'Lo Brown inserted himself into the match for some reason.
Oh, yeah, they did say that, didn't they?
Yeah. And ultimately, like, I guess it was because they wanted to have a match because, we were kind of light on actual in-ring action this week, I guess. But the match goes like 30 seconds to a minute, and Buddy Landell interrupts. So let's go to Buddy, who is going to interrupt.
What's he going to do? Have Harmon buy the promotion?
Stop! Don't look at me that way, boy. I'll slap a hair lip on you. Let me tell you something.
What is he doing?
I want the dirty white boy out here right now. I want the dirty white boy to drag his stinking guts out here right now so I can clean them up for him.
It's really a class act.
Come on out, dirty white boy. Hey, you all just stand back there and look stupid, all right? Hey, I want the dirty white boy out here right now. What do you mean, Tracy Smothers? You don't give a hamburger, you don't give steak to a man that's used to getting hamburger, boy.
Somebody shut him up.
January the 28th, you're mine. Come on out, dirty white boy.
Is this
come on out, baby?
Show, or have I missed something?
Hey,
well, here he
listen,
is.
Hey, come here, man. Hey, why don't want you to defend the title right now? Hey, get that camera on me. Hey.
Well, white boy just nailed the Inferno. D'Lo Brown's taking a hike. I don't blame him. Well, apparently we're going to have a match. No, we're not going to have a match. Harmon.
I like the idea that apparently D'Lo Brown and Fire were both like, okay, can you finish this so we can continue having our wrestling match? And not until White Boy comes out and punches Fire in the face that D'Lo's like, you know what? Fuck this. My check cleared this week. I'm just going to go to the back.
Hey, fair play, D'Lo. Very intelligent young man. Do you know he was a CPA?
I do know he was a CPA. I was actually just about to say that when you said that.
Surprised JR didn't find a way to work it in here.
Now, he may not have been a CPA at this point.
Okay.
So, I mean,
fair.
like, he doesn't, because, I mean, he's a CPA when he's in the WWF in 1997. But, which is kind of funny because him being a CPA had nothing to do with his character. And it's almost a good thing that D'Lo did not get brought in early because he was being used as enhancement talent in the WWF. But, like, it's a good thing Vince didn't know about his accounting aspirations, or else he would have been teaming with IRS.
IRS and DLO.
I guess I figured out what Buddy was talking about, but he stumbled over his words talking about you don't give steak to somebody used to a hamburger. And the way he said it made it sound like he was calling himself Hamburger, but he really meant he was calling Tracy somebody used to Hamburger.
Yeah,
Feeding him steak.
Wasn't terribly articulate, Buddy.
No. After we just put over Buddy's talking skills and how he doesn't need a manager. But unfortunately for all of us, his manager dragged him away. Robert Hugh Harmon, in addition to being a shitty promo, does not give the fans what they want. A white boy Buddy Landell title match right here on TV. So from there, we go to our confrontation segment, and I lost count. But there's been like, 10 confrontation segments at this point, and like the 8th time Jim Cornette's on it. So let's go to Jim Cornette's most recent episode of Confrontation with Jim Ross.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we mentioned this week in Confrontation, it was Bruiser Bedlam who demanded that Mr. Cornette join us out here, and for what reason, sir?
Listen, Jim Ross, I don't play second fiddle nobody. He's getting involved with the Rock and Roll Express, those two punks. I want title shots. I beat the Macho Man. I ran over Tracy Smothers. I ran over everybody in this territory. What are you doing to me, Jimmy? I don't need this.
What are you doing to him?
Hey, now don't start
What are you
with
doing
me,
to
Jim.
this guy?
What is the matter with you? Bruiser, listen, you had all kind of title shots against the Dirty White Boy.
I want more.
It didn't go our way. These things take time. I'm not trying to slack off on your career, but sure, I've been busy with the rock and roll and the gangster situation and all that stuff. I got a lot of things going on in my life.
He's
but
ignoring you.
No, Jim, don't keep instigating. I'm trying to tell you, Bruiser, just stick with me. Be patient. Be patient, because these things take time. You'll be back up in the title picture. You'll be back up in the spotlight before you know it. You're going to be running roughshod over everybody. You did beat Randy Macho Man Savage right in the middle of the ring. You beat everybody. And it's just a matter of time before I get you back in those title pictures again.
All I know is you better produce. You better produce, and I want to produce fast. You do what you best and just shut up and hit that mic.
Bruiser,
I'm getting sick of this.
Listen.
I don't want title shots. I want what I want.
Bruiser, you had title shots with the Dirty White Boy. It would have helped if you'd have won one of them.
Are you saying you blew it?
You blew some of them, but I'm going to get you some more, but you got to have faith in me. I've been guiding you all along up till now, and you've been at the top, and I'm going to keep you there if you just have faith in me. Now, come on. Let's talk about this thing. Let's go back in the back and get out of fish face mouth.
I don't like him. You better produce for me, Cornette.
I'll
That's
produce-
what I know.
Come on, Bruiser. Let's go talk. Come on.
And if I were you, Bruiser, I'd check my bank book, too. You may be missing some funds from Cornette. Ladies and gentlemen,
I will say, I was a little perturbed that it seemed like they had just dropped this whole thing with the Cornette and the other guys he was managing. But hey, they're at least bringing it up here, even if Bruiser Bedlam is only around for one more week.
Yeah, I was surprised they addressed it at all.
I feel like they had to. Like, it would feel really like ridiculous if they didn't.
Well, it's good that they did.
Yeah. I still want to know what the hell happened to Killer Kyle, who, depending on the week, used to be Jim Cornette's bodyguard. But I feel like ultimately, Cornette really was out of people at this point because the Heavenly Bodies are gone. Killer Kyle was never really used that well. Bruiser Bedlam is, blowing his title shots against Dirty White Boy.
Yeah.
And I guess that wraps up the whole dumbass booking of having White Boy beat him clean on TV that one time. Like,
I suppose
Bedlam, Bedlam ruined his own title shots. But
Yeah.
So I think we mentioned this, or at least I meant to mention it. So if I didn't, I'll say it here. Bruiser Bedlam was supposed to feud with Primetime Brian Lee throughout the month of January. And, Brian Lee has left and is not coming back. So, that leaves Bruiser without an opponent, and I think that's pretty much when Corny's like, you know what, maybe it'd be best to send you back up to Detroit.
Well, sucks for Bruiser Bedlam, but we've done all we can with him here, I think.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I love the guy, but it's like he's reached the end of his run here.
Yeah.
All right. So from here, we've talked about Tracy Smothers all episode long. let's hear from Tracy Smothers, and he's got a few things to say.
Everybody heard what happened in the NWA tournament. Chris Candido, I would have been the NWA champion if you wouldn't have pulled that out of your tights, man. Pulled that chain out. But I got another title in mind. January 28th, me and Nature Boy Buddy Landell head up in Knoxville Coliseum, Knoxville's own, the Nature Boy, against me, #1 contender for the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. And whoever the champion is, Jerry Lawler, Dirty White Boy, or you, Buddy Landell, you got to deal with me because I'm a 2-time former champion and I'm a man on the move. And Brian Anderson, don't think for 1 minute that I forgot about you. They say more enemy, more honor. Well, let's get it on, guys, because we definitely can't get along.
So we've talked before about the problems that Cornette has being part of the NWA, because like they denied Smoky Mountain membership when they tried to join a while ago because of Cornette's affiliation with the WWF, because the NWA's bylaws say you only recognize one world champion and that's theirs, while Cornette is recognizing the WWF champion as well. And so you have Tracy Smothers cutting a promo here saying, I wish I could have been the NWA champion, but now instead I'm going after the Smoky Mountain title. Like, no one would have ever said that back in the day about the NWA title. It's like, man, I got scared of that NWA title, so now I'm going to go after the Mid-Atlantic TV title. Like, or if they did, it wouldn't have been said that way, I guess.
No, it wouldn't have been said that silly way that you just said it. You're right about that.
But yeah, so I mean, hey, Tracy is a former champion, and he's been out of the title picture ever since he lost it. Or actually, no, since he didn't lose it to Primetime. Well, he lost to Primetime Brian Lee, but he's still involved in the picture for a few months. But he's been out of the picture since like June, and it's nice to see Tracy get back involved in the title hunt here. Even though, spoiler alert, this company will go out of business before he wins the title again.
Too bad.
Sorry for spoiling that for you, Trey.
Thanks.
Maybe I should apologize for spoiling if the company went out of business. Maybe you were confused.
I thought we were going to keep doing this for another 30 years.
That's if we start doing Raw.
Oh, God.
I think I'll convince you to watch 3-hour Russo Nitros before I convince you to do 30 years of Raw.
It wouldn't take as long.
That's true. Anthony Michaels versus Bryant Anderson. Hey, did you see that Ken Anderson did John Cena's hair transplant?
I did not.
I'm happy that Mr. Anderson went back for his doctorate. Notably, they do point out that Bryant went for several covers in this match when typically Bryan is only going for submissions. To be fair, it makes sense because even though you may want to win your matches by submission, by covering your opponent, it forces them to use energy to kick out. And thus, they have less energy to combat your submissions later on. And Bryant won with his shoulder lock.
To be fair.
Yeah. To be fair.
Yep.
But any thoughts on this riveting battle?
Bryant Anderson knows one song, and we've heard it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you've gone back and read the results of the Christmas Chaos show. So I'm going to wait till next week because they said that next week they're going to show highlights of Christmas Chaos. Before I tell you that the finish of the I Quit matches between Tracy Smothers and Bryant Anderson, I just want to see if what was reported is really what happened before I roll my eyes too hard.
Okay. I have no frame of reference.
Yeah. And it's funny because I didn't know this happened until I read it in the Observer when putting together notes for what to talk about. Hotline question. Should Bruiser Bedlam and Jim Cornette part ways? I bet Jim Ross is thankful that all these things keep happening on the show to give him hotline questions.
This Jim Ross, this is why he keeps instigating, because he needs content for his fucking hotline.
There you go. And people talk shit about Mean Gene on the WCW hotline.
For real.
Although he did once, well, in a few months actually, he does this. I forget who passes away, but somebody from the AWA passes away in February, and Mean Gene goes on Saturday night to do his hotline plug, and he's like, "What recently retired former world champion recently passed away? Call the hotline to find out." And of course, WCW just retired Ric Flair, and so apparently they got a nice. They got a lot of people calling in just to find out that Crusher Blackwell, Jerry Blackwell, died. So yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, next week on Dynamite is a women's casino battle royale, with the winner getting a women's title match at Redemption.
Haven't had one of those in a while.
I guess not a women's one. No, they haven't done. And I'm actually, they don't do one at All In. They only do the men's one at All In. I was about to say they do one at All In, so I was kind of surprised they're doing it this soon, but they don't do one at All In.
They haven't done a casino battle royal in a few years.
A women's one, yeah.
No, they haven't done not the battle royal in like 2022?
Let me rephrase. It was not a casino battle royal. It's a casino gauntlet match.
Oh, well, they haven't done one of those since last year at All In.
They did a women's at
All In. Yeah, they did both.
Year? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. So then go back to what I said. I'm surprised that they're doing one so close to All In.
Well, they're probably. Well, I say that. I say they're not going to do one at All In, but we'll fucking see. I wouldn't be surprised if they did both again this year.
I mean, it's a nice way to get a whole bunch of people on the show. And as much as I get perturbed by it, because I have my own reasons for being perturbed by it, it is a nice way to get people on the show, and people do get into it. But yeah.
They are fun.
Yeah, definitely. I saw the one last year for the national title that Ricochet won. I'm still waiting for that. I was like so convinced that to pay off that Jeff Jarrett storyline from last year that they immediately dropped, that Jarrett was going to come out for the Casino Gauntlet match for the national title. I was wrong, because we needed space for like 10 Death Riders in that match.
You sure were.
Anyway, let's go to Bryant Anderson, who's with Jim Ross. And I think Jim Ross's portion of this promo goes a lot longer than Bryant Anderson's.
And that you're a little upset that you're not considered the #1 contender right now for the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Well, you know, I'm just a little bit upset about that. Tracy, you're making a little bit of a mistake. You're looking ahead a little too much. You still got somebody in your way. That's me. By the time I get done with you, Tracy, you're not going to be the #1 contender anymore. I am.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, short and to the point, as this wrestling is, doesn't mix any words, does Brian Anderson. We'll be back, but first, here's how you can order the exciting Night of Legends videotape.
I guess it's better that Bryant is short and to the point than have him rambling on for 2 minutes. But, yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny.
Well, at least.
And hey, you know, it actually makes sense. Why wouldn't he be considered for the #1 contender status, especially if we're not taking Christmas Chaos into it, because he's undefeated.
We apparently aren't taking
Tracy Smothers.
We apparently aren't taking Christmas Chaos into account about much.
No, apparently we're not. Especially because if Buddy actually won, then the Tracy match, I assume, becomes the title match. So I imagine that doesn't just become Buddy versus Jerry the King Lawler. I bet that would be a fun match.
That sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah. So many events in January, many of the live events in January are going to have a Rumble Rules Battle Royal. including one for $10,000 at the K-Town Showdown, which, okay, I wrote the K-Town Showdown, but didn't they say Super Saturday Night Fever? But it's really also called the K-Town Showdown. Anyway, at that show, the day before the Super Bowl, there will be a $10,000 Rumble Rules Battle Royal, and apparently there's a total of $30,000 on the line all month long. And what happens is each participant puts in $250, and then Smoky Mountain covers whatever the rest of it is. So imagine if I'm Smoky Mountain for that $10,000 one, I'm trying to like, hey, let's try to get 40 people for this thing. They'll put in $250. We don't have to chip in at all.
I don't think there were ever 40 people on a Smoky Mountain card.
I have my doubts that 40 total people ever worked for Smoky Mountain. I might have to go back and check. I said 40 total wrestlers, because I bet if we include, the Casey O'Connors and whatnot,
Pam.
Pam, we'll get to 40 people easily. But so we go to our main event. It is Primetime Brian Lee defending the Beat the Champ TV title against Nature Boy Buddy Landell with Robert Q. Harmon in his corner. And all I could think was, the winner of this match gets $1,000. They could enter 4 Rumble Rules Battle Royals over the month of January with that money.
Is that like doubling down? You never quit when you're on a hot streak?
Exactly. Especially because, the winners is going to keep wrestling and beat the champ, keep winning $1,000 a week. Geez, they could just, Smoky Mountain could fund their entire entry fees into the Rumble Rules Battle Royal.
Infinite money glitch.
Yeah. So Buddy popped here. Primetime Brian Lee had him down with a hammerlock, and Buddy's like, I can get out of this anytime I like. So Brian wrenches up on it, and Buddy screams. Because Buddy Landell is an amazing professional wrestler.
He sure is.
And he's not only an amazing professional wrestler, he's our new TV champion. As he scooped Brian Lee, he stole my finish. He scooped Brian Lee's legs out from under him and put his feet up on the ropes for the pin. And
that was good.
To make matters worse for Horsehead, not only did he lose the TV title, this was a loser leaves town match for him.
Oh,
and
I wondered if this was it.
Yeah. Now with Primetime Brian Lee out of the promotion, I think you'll actually be able to guess this, even though you weren't watching at the very beginning. Now that Brian Lee is gone, who is the only person left in Smoky Mountain who was here on the original TV taping that never left and came back? The only wrestler.
Well, I guess Scott Armstrong left and came back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Robert Gibson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Should have known.
And he's actually here until episode 200. He goes coast to coast. So Buddy is our new TV champion. I didn't even bother keeping count anymore. I don't even know if you're even keeping count anymore of how many title defenses everyone had. They said that this was Brian Lee's 3rd defense, but odds are, based on how things have been, it's probably like his 1st.
Sure. Good enough.
So let's go to JR, who's with Buddy Landell and Robert Q. Harmon. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Robert Q. Harmon does something here that I actually popped.
$1,000. You're the new Smoky Mountain television champion. But Buddy, your feet were all over the ropes. How can you be happy with this? That's the way I saw it in my monitor.
And you need to get your glasses changed, Jim Ross, because when Brian Lee walked in that ring, he said, Buddy, please take it easy on me. I'm an old man, I'm a has-been, and then I slapped him so hard his daddy felt it wherever he's at. You know something, Jim Ross? To a lot of people out here like these pig farmers, $1,000 is about a half a year's pay. This ain't nothing to me. As a matter of fact, Jim, you need this a little bit more than I do. So you take that and go have a good time with it.
Thanks a lot.
Let me tell you something. I am the television champion now. I am a force to be reckoned with. I have some credibility now. So people, start taking notice. And remember the name Nature Boy Buddy Landell. Tracy Smothers, January the 28th, you're the unlucky man to get in the ring with me. Let me tell you something. What makes you think that you're the #1 contender? I'm the television champion and soon to hold both titles, Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion and the television champion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what more we can say. We'll follow up on the situation next week. Next week, we'll have...
Okay. So when Buddy puts the check in JR's pocket, he basically turns around, and so JR's behind him. And Robert Q. Harmon is basically like, yeah, I'm taking this back. And JR's like, yeah, I know. And I laughed at that, you know?
That was the best thing that Robert Q. Harmon did in his run.
And the funny thing is, like, for like the one or two smart fans watching this, it actually makes sense since Buddy Landell, you know, may not be very smart with his money, so he needs someone like Robert Q. Harmon to make sure he doesn't hand away $1,000.
Yeah, does make sense.
But next week we're gonna get highlights from Christmas Chaos along with Cactus Jack versus Bruiser Bedlam in what I think is an everybody leaves town match.
Oh wow!
I could be wrong. I'd have to double check that though.
Haven't had one of those in a minute.
Yeah. Wait till we get to episode 200. We're gonna have a bunch of everybody leaves town matches. Actually, by episode 200, you may be like, I'm ready for everyone to leave town.
Well, who's John Layfield going to work with?
Exactly. This is why JBL couldn't get going here, because there's nobody left in the damn promotion.
Well, as far as the heat wave, there may be some science as to why we're experiencing a heat wave right now. I didn't consider this until I saw an explanation
July.
online. Well, we're experiencing a heat wave because the gates of hell have opened up for Mitch McConnell.
What went on with Mitch McConnell?
He's dying, and they're trying to pretend like he's not, and everybody knows it. And fuck Mitch McConnell.
I agree with that. Normally, I know we do try to stay out of politics on the show. I know sometimes it's impossible, but yes. And apparently, the always reliable Fox News said Mitch McConnell was found unconscious and home last month, as condition remains unknown.
Well, if he pulls through, I guess he pulls through.
Well, I mean, Jim Hurt is still alive, so you know the joke is that the worst people live the longest.
Oh God, Vince Russo's going to live to be 700.
Vince Russo and TNA will be the only things still alive.
TNA, like,
Speaking
at the heat death of the universe, TNA will somehow inextricably still be running.
Did you see F4W, by way of WrestleTix on Twitter, posted how many tickets they've sold for both tonight's tape or yesterday's tapings, if you're listening to this, and the tapings for the end of this month in Philadelphia?
Whose tapings? Oh, TNA. TNA. Oh, yeah, because they're in San Antonio or something and nobody's buying, right? What are they?
They were in Albany Wednesday and Thursday, and I don't think they listed the Thursday thing, but so they were at 643 tickets as of this morning for Albany, in an arena that holds about 3,500 for basketball, which, let's be honest, that's the right size arena, but it's, you know, still they're selling shitty amounts of tickets. But the problem is it's TNA, so they're, as always, they run before they walk. And so because they're doing decent numbers on pay-per-view houses, you know, they decided to book the 10,000 seat Liacouras Center in Philadelphia for Impact at the end of this month.
My God.
Now I know you can cut that down, and they'll cut it down to where it won't look terrible on TV. But in a 10,000 seat arena, as of this morning, they've sold 382 tickets.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much did you end up paying for your Slammiversary ticket?
$40, which was funny because it was $20 to TNA and $21 to Ticketmaster.
Oh, that's funny. Are you
And
going
then the
to?
Mhm.
Are you going to Dynamite and/or Collision in Boston in a few weeks?
Probably not, because it's the week after, or the week we get back from G1. If I do, it'll probably be Collision. It'd probably be difficult for me to get up there for Dynamite.
Well, that makes sense. You want to go to the A show.
Exactly. By the way, I mentioned that Ticketmaster charged a $20 surcharge for for Slammiversary. For G1, it was a $70 ticket. $60 went to New Japan, and only $10 went to Ticketmaster.
That's more appropriate.
It is, but like, make that make sense. I bought a more expensive ticket, and less of the money went to Ticketmaster.
Tickets to stuff have just gotten crazy.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And the thing is, and it's like, and I said this when, the Taylor Swift concert came out a few years ago, and it was priced all to hell, and people were complaining, and it's like, I get it, because I don't know. It's like, people are still going to buy it anyway, and they did. And it's like, I don't know. I'd rather have, because if they're going to pay $1,000, I'd rather have the fucking person I am going to see get the $1,000, and not the fucking the ticket reseller who bought a $30 ticket and resold it for $1,000.
I'm glad I'm not a music person, because wrestling at least is cheaper than those fucking concerts.
Unless you go to WWE. WWE is still overcharging the hell out of people.
Who the fuck wants to go to WWE though?
Apparently enough people, because they can still charge those prices.
I guess.
I don't know. I know that.
Oh, fuck me.
What?
I'm sorry. They have announced for Collision Claudio Castagnoli and Pac against War Dragons, Shingo Takagi and Drilla Maloney.
I was trying to not tell you anything because I'm kind of watching Dynamite in the background, so I wasn't sure, if you were watching it too or not.
Although it irritates me greatly that the thing says Unbound Company instead of War Dragons. They have a team name.
Yeah. So we're going to G1 next week. I know it was none of the matches that you were looking forward to, but we've got some pretty good wrestling to watch here.
Yeah, I guess we can make do with what we're being given.
So what the hell is going on with Tony Khan and New Japan? Because I guess there's a thing with Yota Tsuji, who I'm starting to think there might have been a little bit more to it than it was, because Yota Tsuji, quote unquote, boycotted, the Forbidden Door. But then this week it's like, I had a very productive talk with Tony Khan, and Tanahashi said he had a very productive talk with Tony Khan. It's like, I don't know. It feels like it was never an angle, but now they're, making good on it.
Here's the thing. Western fans take things that Japanese wrestlers say in interviews way too seriously, because Western fans have this idea that anything on TV is a work, but anything off of TV is a shoot. And in Japanese wrestling, a lot of the storytelling is done through post-match comments that only get posted online or in media interviews. So when Yota Tsuji is just speaking as a representative of New Japan and talking about this AEW relationship, a bunch of fucking nerds twisted all out of proportion, and it was never anything to begin with.
I guess it's more just because he said all of it and then retracted it and went a complete 180 on it. And that's where I more got confused than anything else. But I'll tell you what, Yota Tsuji, Konosuke Takeshita, that's going to be a fucking banger. Hiroki Goto versus Sonata, that should be pretty damn good.
Depending on what Sonata we get.
I guess that's true too. But Shota Umino versus Zack Sabre Jr., I mean, fuck. We're going to at least have 2 matches that are going to have us, jumping out of our seats.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll enjoy everything very much. I don't know. I'm getting anxious about this trip, but it's okay. I'll just whatever.
I'm getting a little anxious myself, more because it's like it's a long fucking drive. And I did actually look at, taking a train like you are, but it's like I'm not saying I don't have the patience to take a train for that long, but it's like it would drive me fucking crazy. I
can't imagine that I am going to enjoy the train less than I would enjoy being in the fucking car and having to drive for that amount of time. I don't have to drive the train. I can just sit there and fuck off.
True. And how long of a drive if you were to drive, how long of a drive is it approximately? Because mine, if I were to go door to door from my door to the hotel, is about 15 hours. But I'm not quite going door to door. I'm stopping halfway through and taking them.
I think it's about 19 or 20 hours. Actually, really close to what the train would be, except that the train is weird because I cannot get a train from Houston. It's like the Houston train, you can only go to fucking New Orleans or that way. So I have to drive to Longview to catch the train to Chicago. So I have to drive 4 hours and then be on the train for like 19 hours.
So I looked at it from Providence. And if I leave from Providence, the first step is Boston. So I'm like, okay, let me, save a few bucks and just leave from Boston instead. And it's fine going there, but the way back, it goes to Providence first and then goes to Boston on the way back instead of going to Boston and then Providence in reverse. So it's
That's
like,
annoying.
Motherfucker. Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, so it's funny because like I had a friend who flew into O'Hare and she warned me to never fly into O'Hare. So it's like both times I've now gone to Chicago, I've driven.
I flew into O'Hare once. It was fine.
Well, apparently my friend thought it sucked.
I did get stuck at O'Hare for like 6 hours once due to snow and shit. That was kind of annoying, but
I imagine Kenny Omega accepted MJF's challenge because I don't know why else they'd save it for the end of the show.
One would have to assume.
Yes. Even though Will Ospreay ran up to him before he went out there and said something, I'm assuming. But yeah. Let's see. Eric Young has apparently left TNA, which to me, like, okay, it's a news story, but it's not really that much of a news story. But then it's come out that he might be going back to WWE, which I don't know. I think that's even weirder.
Well, bad man gone.
That is true. Bad man is gone. But by the way, speaking of TNA, I want to give a shout out to Gabby Forza, who is booked for the TNA Knockouts TV title tournament. I'm assuming she's going to be a first round loser in like 5 minutes. But hey, she's getting her foot in the door, and it's her first step on the road to superstardom.
Congratulations, Gabby Forza.
Yes. I gotta say, these WWE ID people, it seems like every day there's a new story about them being pulled from an indie show. And I get, WWE needs them for something, I'm sure. But to me, like, that's going to kill their bookings because if you're an indie company, why bother going through the booking? Why bother probably buying a plane ticket and doing all this stuff if WWE could just call up one day out of the blue and say, nope, they're not doing that?
You're right. It's going to fuck up their bookings.
All right. Well, that's good for this week. Oh, shit. It's not going to be good for this week. We didn't do the end. 153 down, 47 to go. By the way, thankfully, there's not a whole lot really to talk about. So, we'll get through this quickly. So, New Japan held Tokyo Dome 12 BWK, or its real name, Battle 7. In the main event, Shinya Hashimoto defeated Kensuke Sasaki to retain the IWGP title. Elsewhere, Antonio Inoki won the underwear tournament, last beating Stink. It turns out Stink was in fact wrong for this tournament. And I do like this is still back in the day, kid, where they said the Tokyo Dome held 62,500, which we later found out is a lie. And
lying about a wrestling venue attendance? Are you shitting me? Whoever heard of such a thing?
I know, right? And of course, the funny thing is that it's not quite as many, but there are enough people who treat this 62,500 like the 93,173 in the Silver Dome. You will never tell them that there was not that many people in the Tokyo Dome, even though it's the same fucking Tokyo Dome. And
well, they
when
they claimed 70,000 for Inoki's retirement match.
Yeah. So they had to build the Tokyo Dome on top of the Tokyo Dome for these. What is
the actual capacity of the Tokyo Dome for wrestling?
I think it was like 50,000, 53,000. I think they just added 10,000 to the number.
And it's a bigger stage.
Yeah.
No.
There you go. There is some Smoky Mountain news. There are a few issues between Jim Cornette and Joe Pedicino, who is the guy. He used to do Pro Wrestling This Week, but somehow he's in charge of a wrestling block of shows on an Atlanta Christian TV station. And apparently the TV station has expressed concern with several recent angles and one that will be airing on TV shortly. It has led to some heat between both sides.
Ooh. Did they mention the particular angles that it was have happened already?
They did, but I forget them. It was probably gangsters related.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then this is one of those famous-ish moments. Tully Blanchard is being brought into ECW to challenge Shane Douglas for the ECW title on January 7th. And let's just say it does not go well. Yeah.
Can't imagine why.
Do you remember the story of that?
What was the setup again? I'm sorry.
Tully Blanchard is coming into ECW to challenge Shane Douglas for the ECW title.
Didn't they have like a 45-minute match and it just didn't get over?
And the crowd shit on it, yeah. I think it was supposed to be a 60-minute draw, but they called it early. And Tully was supposed to come in and do 3 dates, but this got over like a fart in church, and they canceled the other 2.
Or Tully.
All right, so now we're really done for the show. It's a bad week for This Week in Wrestling News because even tonight on the site formerly known as angrymarks.com, I don't have a lot to say about this week in wrestling history. In April of 2000, outside of our new game, guess how many times the WCW title changed hands this week?
Oh, early 95?
No, April 2000. Do you want me to give you the exact dates so you can give you a proper guesstimate?
Yes.
Okay, so we're doing the Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer reporting week, which is Wednesday to Tuesday. So Wednesday, April 19th to Tuesday, April 25th, 2000. How many times did the WCW World Title change hands that week?
Okay, Wednesday, April 19th.
To Tuesday, April 25th, 2000. And this is like if they take 10 shows on Saturday and the title changes hands then, but doesn't air for 3 months, it counts. So, for this week.
It's twice, isn't it? Because that Monday would be DDP and Jeff Jarrett in the cage match, and then Tuesday would have been when they taped the Arquette change, right?
It is in fact 2. And when Vince Russo gets off drugs at the end of May and stops changing the title 3 times a week, we're going to change it to how many titles in WCW changed hands this week. But believe it or not, no other title changed hands in WCW this week.
Remarkable.
I know, right? All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. We'll be back next week with a full complement of episodes. Cindy and I have already discussed taping TNA, so that is definitely happening next week. And then it's funny, we're getting all 4 shows next week and nothing the week after. Well, there's going to be a show, but none of our traditional shows the week after. But before we get to there, let's get to this. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.